everyone. My name is Katerina, and today we will get to know Dwayne. Um, we met not so long ago on the Costa del Sol. Dwayne moved here a few months ago. Today he will tell a little about himself. Also, I want to uh, um, introduce Maria. Uh, we already... Вы так смотрите на меня, волнуюсь.
Ну, мы внимательны.
Great start, great start.
Смотри туда.
Yes.
Okay.
We already met here before on my YouTube channel. I'm very happy to see everyone here. But my English is not very good, и Maria will help me.
With pleasure.
Представь немножко себя, расскажи, напомни вот нашим зрителям, по-английски, естественно, все.
So first to tell about myself.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So I'm Maria. I use the name Enjoy sometimes. I use it for my books and for my school and for things I do. I work with people like psychologists, and I work also with the body questions, with any body questions, energetical or emotional, or questions which are inside of us. So I can cure that, and at the same time I talk with people and do healing. Also have a Tao school. In Tao school we practice Taoism, the practices which are of from the line of Mantak Chia. And also a little bit of yoga from my guru, who is from India. From my guru, who is from India, from Balog Baba. Yes, that's mainly what I do. I do also face reading. I forgot. I do also face reading. It's physiognomy. And I do. I also play flutes. So I play Sekuhachi flutes. So I do sometimes events. So that's what I do. In short.
Very good. Телефона, por favor. И one question, задам вопрос человеку, как давно здесь, как Испания?
So now we will present you when.
Yes.
So yes, so also some maybe few words about yourself, from where you are, what you're doing here in Costa del Sol, what you do in Spain.
Okay, what am I doing in Spain and who I am? So I'm born and raised in the Netherlands. I'm half Dutch, half Indonesian. I spent my first 38 years living in the Netherlands. I think mostly it's been working. Born and raised in Tilburg. I spent about 15 years in various leadership positions and working in different sectors in different companies. I think when I was 37, I had my Kundalini awakening. I think maybe even looking back, I already had it way before that time. But I think after that, I realized I had to go. It was time to sell everything what I had and take the adventure of a lifetime.
So it changed your life actually a lot. That experience. Certainly.
No, because I think even when I was younger, I always realized, there's much more to life. And the Netherlands is actually quite small, and also quite small in the mentality. I never really felt at home. I always felt completely different than everybody else. It didn't matter in which company I was, or which friends I had, or which environment I was. And I always had the wish to explore the world a little bit more. And I always said, even when I was young, I don't want to retire or grow old in the Netherlands, because life is very fast-paced, and there's not much time to really enjoy and really relax life. And I love life, and I love to enjoy life. So I always wanted to move and see where my other home is. I think in 2023, I finally decided, okay, it's time to move. You know, I wanted to do it before, but the time wasn't there yet. And in 2023, I finally felt, okay, the energy is right, the time is right. I'm gonna sell everything what I have. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna go into the world and see whatever's gonna happen.
So you just went to a new life.
Yeah,
You
I
took
just
everything?
I just said, you know what, I'm gonna sell everything, and I did. And no, my life wasn't bad. My life was actually quite good. You know, I had a good job. You know, everything what society might expect from you. But you know, I don't live for the society. I live for myself.
Sounds super nice. And I can't stop myself from asking one question.
Sure.
What's the experience changing you? Maybe there are some few words in what aspects in change your attitude to life.
I have so many experiences. I think I can write. I think sometimes I feel like I lived 10 lifetimes
But
in
you
this
told
lifetime.
you told especially about your Kundalini awakening, and you told that experience from that experience something started, and that's why I'm coming back to ask you what exactly maybe it
Triggered.
changed in you. It changed in you maybe.
I think the people pleasing. So, like I said, I always had the wish to move abroad or to go ahead and just see, you know, take a big leap of faith. I always had this wish, but I never really had the courage to take that step. I think in 2020, I wanted already to spend, you know, 1 or 2 years abroad, but then COVID happened, you know, so I wasn't able to do it. I think what the Kundalini changed for me, it actually gave me enough courage to actually finally take the step and say, you know what, okay, now is the right time. Because prior to that, I always contemplated it, I always wanted to do it, but I never really had the courage, and I think also not the right energy to actually take that step and do it, you know.
Теперь вести?
Чуть-чуть.
Он говорит, что после поднятия кундалини у него был такой опыт, и у него появилась смелость собрать энергию, силы и сделать свою жизнь такой, как он хочет. То есть как бы продал то, что у него есть, все, что у него было в жизни, собрал это, то есть и поехал в свое путешествие. На это нужно было время. И потом это все случилось.
И
Теперь он...
по итогу вот весь его путь он привел сюда, в Испанию. Здесь он хочет остаться какое-то время.
это всё такое.
Почему именно это место его привлекло? Где он еще до этого был, в каких странах, и почему именно Испания?
Why this place? Why Spain?
Like I said, when we were talking earlier, I feel like when I left the Netherlands, I felt like, okay, it's time for a new chapter. It's time for, I don't know, I'm going to step into the unknown. I have no clue what's going to happen, but I'm quite sure everything's going to work out. And as we spoke earlier, I feel like my life is like the alchemist from Paulo Coelho. You know, right now I just go wherever the energy is telling me to go. I think when I came back from Asia, I spent 1 or 2 months in the Netherlands. And then my energy told me, okay, go to Spain. You know, you have some friends there, go to Spain and see whatever's going to happen. So I took my flight and I went to Malaga, I visited my friends. And ever since then, I said, okay, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe I'm going to stay here 1 month, maybe I'm going to stay here 2 months, maybe 3 months. But actually, as I'm staying here longer, the pieces of the puzzle seem to be connecting more and more and
So
more.
it feels more like inner call where you just went and you are now discovering what for.
Yes. And like I said, sometimes it's just purely intuitive, you know. Like you have some people, they operate from different kind of systems and different type of authorities. You know, some people very mental, very rational. Some people very intuitive. Some people very emotional. So some people that take the decisions purely on emotions. Okay, what feels right in my emotions?
So you feel yourself more like intuitive person.
Yes. Okay. As soon as I start thinking too much, no, that's not good. I need to keep my mind empty. I need to keep my mind empty, and then, you know, my energy is going to tell me, or my intuition is going to tell me, okay, you need to go here, you need to go here. It sounds very strange, but for me, it's the way of living.
Okay, I understand. Он говорит, что его образ жизни, то есть его, когда становится ум, успокаивается, то его больше интуиция ведет. Он человек, который больше живет интуицией. Поэтому он поехал по этой интуиции, она его привела сюда, и он дальше смотрит, что тут разворачивается, уже понимает, что да, в этом месте не должен быть.
За это время, за 5 месяцев, я уже так поняла, что человек действительно встречает интересных людей, которые как-то связаны с темой ну, темой его реализации, да.
Мгм.
То есть вот может он рассказать поподробнее, каких людей он здесь встречал, да, какие удивительные встречи уже происходили в его здесь жизни.
Мгм.
Вот
Сейчас,
на тему его духовного развития, его здесь место.
сейчас прошу. Одну минутку я ему открою, хорошо.
Окей.
Okay, so
Вот про встречи, которые уже здесь происходили. Вот что можете сказать, может быть, такого необычного и интересного?
she's asking about maybe some different interesting people you met here. Maybe maybe have met some people which were special for you here.
If I met some people which were special to me,
Yes,
well,
or you
she's
found-
very special. She's very special, you know, and she's helped me in some ways. I feel she's one of the persons who actually she can see me, you know. And to be honest, I've not met a lot of people in my life where I feel like okay, they can see me, you know. It's because it's very difficult, you know.
Okay. Она перевести тебе?
Да.
Ну, она говорит, что ты специально для него такой человек необычный, потому что ты его видишь, а очень мало людей, которые на самом деле видят других.
Мгм. Ну вот у нас здесь есть сообщество. Мария, ты тоже намного больше, я знаю, что чувствуешь и видишь людей. И ну, я чувствую, что мы как часть какого-то плана, и важно объединение, знакомства, поэтому есть Mighty видео, да.
Мгм.
Потому что когда мы объединяемся, это как-то усиливает нас всех.
She's telling us there's community here of people who are like have these possibilities to see each other also, and then when we are communicating, when we are contacted, we are like giving more possibilities to each other. So that's why she's also doing this kind of videos to present people to each other, to connect them.
Да. А вот могла бы ты немножечко рассказать? Я тоже видела, ты сейчас каким-то сообществом людей, у вас музыкальные какие-то духовные танцы, встречи. Вот можешь ты немножко рассказать, что это за люди, места, где ты их нашла?
Так, у меня...
Ну, я просто вижу у тебя последнее видео и фото. И...
Да, я просто думала, у меня получилось так, что у меня достаточно много тут контактов сложилось. Да. Yes, I forgot. So yes, there are many communities actually here, and I'm in 3 communities. I'm in Russian-speaking community, Ukrainian Russian-speaking community, also in international community here, and in Spanish community. And they do different kind of events, but that are mostly people which do different kind of practices. And what you have seen is like we are dancing. I go to ecstatic dance, so I go to ecstatic dance, and we do different kind of also practices here and healings and yes, these kind of things. Yes, and actually there are a lot of people here, which are interesting, like you told. But you need time. You need time to connect, to contact, and then they are like opening for you here. So the community here is very interesting, and people which do everything actually. One people do sound healing, other people they like work with Ayurveda, and other people they do different kind of practices. So you can find everyone here. A lot of shamans also which are living here. So yeah.
Я поняла. Немножко это разные немножко сообщества, разные направления.
But the events which I do here, for example, I do the music events, I do like sound healing events. For now. Yes, for now.
Что меня впечатлило при первой встрече, знакомство, диалоге с Дуэйном, он показал мне проект чего-то очень масштабного. То есть вот у меня тоже есть мысли о том, что хотелось бы вот как ретриты какие-то, да, но не такие типичные, а вот чтобы это очень разносторонние были. То есть разные практики, разные учителя. И вот у меня была идея, но он показал настолько глобальную какую-то вот его идею. И это было очень интересно. Вот может он поподробнее про это рассказать, про вот этот проект, его, где люди могут трансформировать свое сознание и вот.
She's asking about your project. You told her about some kind of your project, where you want to contact people, which will do different kind of practices. So can you tell more about that? What you are looking for, and what you want to do?
So in my life, Just to give a little bit of a background story, in my life I've always been fascinated about psychology, about expansion, about transformation, about changing. So I've always dived deep into many different types of fields, you know. So I think even when I was 27, I dived into psychology a lot. In the later stage, I dived a lot into the Kabbalah, for example. I did the Kabbalah. Then you also have the Kundalini, which you also have to do a lot of research as well. Although when you have the awakening, many answers actually come to yourself. I did human design. I studied human design myself, I think for about 6 months to a year. Plus, I've studied myself for an entire lifetime. I also did like a lot of things like about Taoism. I was very interested about those things, but I always felt like in it's all specialized. You know, every field is very specialized, and they all have different ways of doing things, even though they come down to the main thing. But I always felt like something is missing from it. You know, like it's not complete. And I think if you want to have a complete transformation or complete healing or something else, you need to have different fields coming together for this. Because if I'm gonna do Taoism, you know, like it's not gonna take a Kundalini awakening into play or into factor. If I'm going to check human design doesn't really take the physical part of healing into matter. So I always felt like, okay, there's all these different fields, and they're super interesting, but I always felt like there's something missing. It's not the complete picture. I want to create something where actually is going to give a complete picture for people. Okay, you know what? We're going to have this, and this, all these different fields. And here, you know, you can come and we can heal you until a certain level, because ultimately people need to heal themselves. You know, there's like physical parts we can do and mental parts we can do. But, you know, if you're going to continue your life, that work is up to yourself, you know?
Yeah, so you are actually a person which likes to mix it, combine, and to get something from different kind of knowledges to present it to people.
Yeah.
I will tell her afterwards. Он говорит, что он всю жизнь уже занимался разными направлениями, ну, там, перечислял их, исследовал, и говорит, что в каждом из них есть что-то для людей, но нету полного понимания. И поэтому он хотел дать возможность людям такой более полной картинки, контакта с собой, возможности познания себя, то есть как бы в разных аспектах. I just told her in short what you told.
Да, это отлично здесь, потому что я встречаю людей, у которых вот, ну, очень мало стремлений и вот таких больших мечт. То есть я придерживаюсь мнения, если есть такая мечта, то она 100% может быть реализована. Вот как бы вот переведи тот момент, что это мало у кого есть вообще факт того, что вот мы к чему-то стремимся, мечтаем, но люди чаще всего боятся.
Что there are not so many people which have like big dreams, and there are a lot of people which have a lot of fears about it to start to do something. So that's
Если мы для себя это допускаем, то есть эта реализация может быть на 100%.
So if you think if you have this in your dreams, if you think it's possible, then it's possible for sure. She thinks.
No, and I think the same way. Like, I think generally if something pops up in your mind, you know, if it's in your imagination, if you can see it, then you see it for a reason. And I believe also it's like many ideas or many plans which we have, you know, they come from the ether, you know. So if it's there, there's a way, you know. And even if you look at like things like the Bible, for example, or even religious scriptures, if there is a vision, then there's also a way to get it done. But I also know like this vision, it's quite big, and I can do many things on my own. But I think for this one, I definitely need to have some help and some support, because it's gonna be big.
So you need actually people to come into your project. You're looking not only for a place, but also for people.
Yeah, to collaborate as well, because it's like I said, I can do project management, and I've also worked as a manager in the past. But this is a big project. And yeah, I can definitely use some people on board to also help me shape certain things and to get this vision to life.
Ну, коротко, что то есть для проекта нужны такие люди. Не только место, но и люди, так как он может руководить проектом.
Скажем, мы найдем всех.
She promised to find everyone.
No, and she's very good at finding people. And I think until now, like I'm somehow I'm finding all the right people. No, even her, because that's also something I had in mind as well.
Впереди.
Сказала, ну да, даже я.
Да. И что еще очень важно, почему я хочу продвигать вот эти темы, да, как-то рассказывать людям, потому что я хочу жить в сообществе людей счастливых, да, которые позитивные, счастливые, доброжелательные. Я как человек эмпатичный вижу вот эту боль в людях, да, которую они скрывают за алкоголем или фальшивыми какими-то улыбками, да. И как бы основная цель всего этого.
She says that her main aim why she is doing it because she wants to live among people which are happy, and she's a very empathic person. That's why she sees what the people have inside this kind of pains they have. So she wants to change that. That's why she's interested. Okay.
Очень многие люди не понимают, да, из чего мы состоим, что у нас внутри, что нам дает счастье. Шишковидная железа, то есть интуиция полностью убивает. Что убивает? Алкоголь, отвлекает внимание, все новости, да, чувство страха, нагнетается постоянно конец света, войны, это все.
There's a lot of people that don't have this kind of feeling, they can't feel, and then don't have this intuition because it's totally blocked today by many things, by television, the internet, all these kind of things.
No, I think no, she's right, you know, and I can sense that, like, she's very sensitive, you know, and I think me personally, I'm actually highly sensitive, even since I was a child. But you know, if you go into society, and it depends on which society it is, though, because in some societies it's actually seen as a good thing to be like sensitive, you know. For example, if you look at like places in Asia, people are way more sensitive than, for example, people in the West. And it's like, for example, you look at the Netherlands, like it's a very hard society, you know, like it's very tough. And people also very, I wouldn't say very hard, but can be harsh, you know. And it's a very rational and logical society. But if you depend on rationality and on logic, you're actually blocking your third eye. If you're always thinking, you know, you block the intuition. Because intuition is actually to make sure your mind is quiet, to really get in touch with it. So what she says is correct. You know, if you're always thinking and you're always worrying about stuff and you never really let go and you're always thinking. I notice it myself too. My mind is quiet, I feel it. You know, I feel my mind is stronger. But if your mind is always thinking and contemplating, you know, you're actually way off your intuition. And intuition is actually, it's a superpower.
Он говорит про интуицию, что это суперсила, и что зависит от того, в какой стране по-разному люди. Ну, если на Востоке там люди больше, они связаны со своей интуицией, они более чувствительные, то, например, там, где он в Нидерландах жил, то там люди больше через логику живут, соответственно, она блокируется. То есть это зависит от места.
От места. Вот Нидерланды и где он жил. А в чем вот разница? Больше к природе люди, они как-то ближе, и это помогает раскрыть интуицию. Вот так глобально, если смотреть на места, где они живут, и общество. Вот его наблюдения можно...
Maybe.
Почему?
What do you think? Why you told that in different places people have different kind of sensibility and intuition? What do you think influences that? Maybe the nature or something else? Religion?
Can be everything. I think it's like it's a certain paradigm which you have in certain countries. So you need to look at the history of countries. You need to look at the culture. You need to look at the nature. You know, like how much sun is there. You know, like it really makes a massive difference. Generally, if you look at countries where there's a lot of sun, people generally are happier. You know, it's just more energy coming into your system. If you look at like Nordic countries, you know, people are a little bit more distant, a little bit more cold. So temperature plays a really big role in how people behave and how people interact with each other. You know, you look at the Netherlands, I think at least 7 months of the year, people spend a lot of time inside the house. You know, what are you do inside the house? Maybe people watch a lot of TV, you know, like you look at countries like Spain, countries like Asia, you know, like people most of the time, life is outside. Life is outside in the nature. You get the fresh air, you know, that plays a really big role. You also need to look at the paradigm. How is the news? How is the media? How is the past? You know, because all those things, they play a big role in how people are shaped. You know, for example, you look at, and I said to her as well, you look at, for example, a country like Vietnam, people living outdoor. They don't have a lot of money. They don't have a lot of luxury. They don't have a lot of wealth, but they are happy and they are free, you know, and they are very kind and very loving, and you feel that energy. You feel it in the air. Like it's a completely different energy than, for example, you go to the Netherlands. So you feel that when you're there. Then you look at the past and you look, okay, this country has been in war for hundreds of years, but they never surrendered. And they always won the war, whether it was against China or it was against the United States or even against the Mongols. They always came out victorious. So you notice that resilience, like that's really in the DNA of the people. That resilience, you know, like never give up, always keep on going. You know, it doesn't matter how hard things are gonna get, we keep going. And there's like a certain fire and a certain passion in the people, you know, and you notice that.
It's a life inside them. So.
Exactly, and that gets passed on from generation to generation to generation. And if you look at other countries, for example, like the Netherlands, where people, I don't want to be too judgmental about it. I'm not judgmental at all, but you know, they lost the war, and you see that more or less like being passed down. Like it can be almost like some kind of passivity. You understand what I'm saying? And it gets passed on from generation to generation. So you need to look at the history. Okay, what's the history of the country? What's the psyche of the country? You look at a country like Poland, for example, maybe even Russia, I don't know. But look at Poland, it's been suppressed for a really long time, right?
Mm.
So you look at that and then, okay, because they've been suppressed for a long time, they weren't free in their expression, you know, it gets passed down from generation to generation. So that also really shapes like the DNA of the current generation. So, and then you also have the son, you know, and other life circumstances and the balance between life and work, you know. And I think some countries have a very heavy balance, where it's like predominantly work and a little bit of life. I think the countries which have a better balance, which, okay, less about work, but more about life, they generally tend to be happier people.
Я тебя коротко.
Ну, чуть-чуть можно, да, дополнить. Я как бы поняла много чего.
Ну да, что очень зависит от истории страны, в которой живешь, потому что история, в которой, например, много поколений жили, которые выбирали же жизнь, выбирали что-то менять, выбирали делать, у них другое, соответственно, другие настройки жизненные, они по-другому идут. Ну и страны, в которых не выбирали не действовать, соответственно, по-другому. И это зависит, ну, конечно, количество солнца, количество контакта с природой, да, это тоже очень сильно влияет. Ну, плюс вся история наших предков, вся история, да, что было ранее.
Угу. Да, я согласна. Я тоже сравнивала русскоязычные наши страны, да, Испания, разницу, это климат очень важно. Много солнца и тепла помогает.
В Испании интересно. I think that in Spain, I'm observing also different countries. For me, it's super interesting because I see as that in every country I can take some kind of experience which is different. And I like to come to this country to see which experience I can take from these people here. And from people who are here, they are very like relaxed.
Like that, mañana.
And they know how to enjoy life. They are not about money totally. But I think it's also because of their history, and they have a lot of they have conquered a lot of countries. So they have this kind of, okay, we did that, we don't need more to to be focused on telling to others that we are the best and we can finally relax. So at some moment you can tell, okay, I have what I need and now I can just enjoy the life. So yes, and also of course the nature.
Да, мне нравится тоже в испанцах, что они не стремятся вот слишком там, да, заработать много чего-то, достижения какие-то. Но при этом я встречаю людей, которые соглашаются на те работы, которые вот они есть, да, вот в связи с тем, что где мы живем, туристическое место. И им это не нравится, но они боятся что-то также поменять в своей жизни, не понимают. То есть тоже важно развивать вот свою интуицию, чтобы чувствовать, какие занятия тебе приносят истинно вот это удовольствие и наслаждение, которое приносит пользу людям. Это как найти свое предназначение.
She told them, but what she likes that the people here are super relaxed, but she don't like that they don't change. They don't want to change something. They are like not used to. I also see that when I'm talking to people here, when I'm asking them why you're doing that, that kind of work because it's easy, because it gives money. They're not thinking about their realization of something. They're like to do
I mean, about about the purpose.
or to do something they feel like what they want to do. Yes, normally there are very few people who do that.
I don't know. I've not been here long enough to actually see or experience that, you know. But I think generally, how many people really go for their purpose in life, you know?
Yes, but it also depends from countries, because I see I'm from Ukraine, so I see for people there it's super important to feel what they do.
No, for me, it's always been the same, you know. For me too, personally.
Yes, but here maybe because I think it's the last generations, because they had more easy life, and they are not they don't have this kind of questions in their lives to start like thinking to start feeling. They are going more an easy way now. But I think it changes from generation to generation. We have like different periods also.
I think so, and I think generally, if you have an easy life, you know, why should you? Well, I've got my house, I've got my car, I've got my kids, you know, I've got enough money in the bank, so you know, why should I go for a purpose, or you know? And I don't know the backstory of people either, you know. Like sometimes it can also be. I've met some people here, they really want to go for their purpose, but they limit it. You know, they got like they got a family, they got kids, they got a wife.
Yes, you have to change many things. It's not
exactly, and then they have like a shitty job which they took just to be able to provide for their family. But they really want to do something else, but they just don't know how to get it done, you know. And I think if this is going to last long enough, you know, it's going to be can be quite a burden for them. But like I said, I think some people they don't want to go for the purpose, and some people just, I think they have like a sleeping, how should I say, like sleeping souls. They choose like an easy life this time.
Yes.
Or like, you know what, this lifetime I'm just gonna be relaxed. I'm just gonna enjoy.
And it's also a choice. It's also a choice.
No, there's nothing wrong with it.
I was doing actually for 10 years. I was doing a project which was connected with it. We connected people to the work they really feel like they want to do. So I was doing that for people who were like working who have a lot of experience before in different kind of works. They were like also in big business and this kind of things. But then they are at some moment in life when they understand that they have a lot of knowledge, but they don't know what they want to do next. So, and
I was in that phase for a while.
And I was doing a project which helped people to understand what they really want and why, and how to combine all their knowledge and to put it in something what they feel they really want to do.
That's amazing.
And it's really not easy, because at the moment you need to just to leave all your life behind and to tell, okay, this step is done. Now I don't have fear. I can just go to something new.
Well, but you're right. Like, and I think it's really great. But I do feel like there's a lot of people out there who are looking for guidance. You know, there's a lot of people out there. You know, they want something else, but they don't really know what it is they want. You know, and I think in a lot of cases, like you said, they also don't really know themselves inside and out, and that's one of the most important things, actually. Like, how you want to figure out what you want in your life and what to do in your life if you don't even know who you are in the core. Of course. If you don't know what's in your heart, if you don't know what's in your persona, if you don't know your weaknesses, if you don't know your strengths, if you don't know what's triggering you, if you don't know what really drives you, if you don't know what really gives you passion, how are you gonna figure out what you're gonna do with the rest of your life? You know. So I think it's really great. You know, I think there need to be like more people who can actually guide the other ones to make sure. Okay, let's find out who you are first. And once you found out who you are, from there on you can make the change, because you can't change if you don't know where to start. And real change, I think, starts within, and only when the change starts within, then you can start changing the external world as well.
Yeah. So actually, some time need to be spent to examine yourself first, to stop to examine yourself, to understand.
For me, like it comes naturally. You know, and I always thought for a really long time, I thought, oh, everybody's like that. And then for a long time, I was like, why is nobody like that? You know, I think I was given like an introspective kind of nature, like being very reflective, even when I was in college or university. You know, I would suck at like giving I had to give a presentation. I was so nervous, right? I was really nervous. And I started stuttering. And because it was public speaking, I was afraid of that. I started stuttering, and it was the worst presentation ever, like the worst presentation. And we could prepare this presentation for 3 weeks, and we could make it entirely what we wanted to, and have the subject entirely what we wanted the subject to be. And as soon as I started speaking, it was like I just froze. You know, I really froze. It was embarrassing for me at that time. Then afterwards, we have to give like the teacher. She asked us to give like how did we do? You know, to kind of give like a reflection. But I was very honest in the reflection, and I said, okay, this is my reflection. This is what I think. Man, the presentation, my part, I would have given myself a 1 or even a 0 if it was possible.
Okay.
But the teacher said, you know what? Because your reflection was so good, I'm going to give you a 7. And I think that's one of the most important things in life is you always need to reflect on things. You know, it doesn't have to be every day, but for me, like it can like an everyday thing. If you reflect on the things which happen, and if you're introspective, that's when you learn. You make your mistakes, you learn from your mistakes, but you have to look at yourself. You know, you got to look in the mirror, and sometimes you have to be really honest with yourself and say, you know what, this is good, but that's really bad. You know,
So you
that's
think-
not right.
So I think that's your key to reflect,
To life in
take-
general.
to-
Yeah, for me,
to take from every moment some experience, some reflection, some understanding.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, like I also had, I think in my teenage years, you know, because I grew up in the Netherlands, we like to experiment with different things, you know. So we also experiment with mushrooms, for example. And the first time I did it, it was like my mind was split open. I said, okay, you know, there's much more to life than just this, you know. And be very philosophical. The second, you know, and a couple times after though, I had a really bad trip, and then it was like I gained like, I wouldn't say like consciousness, you know, but it was like a voice, but the voice wasn't so nice to me. It was really bad to me. Like, you ain't shit, you're not good, you know, and I was so negative. And I was like, what is happening, you know? Like, I never experienced that before. Like, but before my ego was there, you know, my ego was so high. And this basically told me, like, I think it was just consciousness, it was just like a mirror inside me, which basically said, look, you ain't shit. You never did anything in your life. You never accomplished anything. You went to high school. So it just gave me that mirror, you know, and for me, for a long time, I couldn't really like place like, what is this? Because it was foreign to me. It was like completely new, you know, and I suffered from it greatly. Like it's you know, it sent me into a depression for a long time. Like I couldn't sleep at night. I was like analyzing, and I was analyzing the analyzing, and I was over analyzing the analyzing of the analyzing, you know, like how deep your thoughts can go at one time, right? You know, so and then like it took me like 4 or 5 hours a night just to fall asleep, because I was like, wow, what happened to me? I couldn't process it. I tried to find the answers, but I just couldn't process it, and I couldn't stop the
So
thinking.
what was the way to process?
The way to process it was just
what way you found?
so I think it took me a good year, and you know, at that point I was like, I didn't want to see anybody, I didn't want to see anything, you know. I was like socially very awkward at one point, you know, and I was scared of even talking to people or even looking at people. So if I saw somebody from, I would go the other way, you know. I think there came a point where I realized, like, okay, like if this is gonna last for the rest of my life, like life is not gonna be worth living, you know, if you just all the time, like if your mind is so extremely busy. So I tried to divert my focus from thinking to music. Music was the first thing. Like music was the very thing
So
which really
music helped you to come out from your mind, to stop.
Music was the first thing
to stop.
yeah, because
thinking.
I always loved music. You know, and I was always, as a kid, you know, listening to a lot of music. In my teens, I was discovering so many different types of music, and you know, I used to go to a lot of music festivals. Music was my life. So I said, you know what? Okay, rather than thinking, if your mind is gonna go again, divert it. Just think about music. You know, think about what you want to do, because I was DJing as well. You know, my turntables and my techniques, but divert your mind. Just if you're gonna go again into a spiral, think about music. And what you love about music, and think about what you want to create, you know, with DJing, you know. And that was That was the first thing which diverted at me. It didn't fix what was inside, but at least I got my focus somewhere else. You know. Then the second
And
thing
music
was
also switch your mind in a different way. I mean, your mind is working like more, not the left side, but more the side, and you're like more in feeling, more in.
no, I'm very in touch with myself.
Okay.
But at that point, I was like, okay, I just need to stop the thinking. So I put it into music. You know, music is always great to accompany you with everything. I think for every emotion we have, there's always music to listen to. You know, and it can really comfort us. It can really soothe us. It can really, you know, be there for us. You know, so I can really safely say, like, music initially really saved my life. It really saved my life. Then the second thing was I knew, okay, I need to stop doing everything what I'm doing, you know, like quit smoking weed, because I was smoking a lot of weed at the time as well. And if your mind is unstable, it's actually not good for it. I think, and then at one point I realized, okay, if I want to do something with my life, because it's a reflection, it's basically saying, hey, look, you didn't do anything yet. So before you're even going to have a big mouth about anything, make sure you accomplish something first. And then I think I start working, focus on work. I think, and then when I think I was 21, and I was working in a logistics company, and my manager asked me if I want to become a team leader. And they already asked me a year before if I want to become a supervisor. And I said, look, I'm 19, I'm 20 years old. Like, I'm way too young to be responsible for other people. Plus, I don't want to be the first one in and the last one to go home, you know? Like, I'm not really into that responsibility.
So what you thought about music, it was before 20?
I think around 20, like 19, 20, something like that. And then I think around 20, I also had my first girlfriend. She also really helped me a lot, you know, just the pure love from her. I could also really help I think it was just a lack of self-esteem, you know, really a lack of self-esteem. And she helped me with that as well. But look, ultimately, you can't depend on someone else to give you self-esteem, you know. And I think during that time, it really was about, okay, all these external influences, they giving me a lot of self-esteem, but it's still the wrong way to go about it, because true self-esteem comes from the inside. So I needed to have a lot of external validation, but that external validation got me through initially. It got me through the depression and to actually get over the depression, you know. And then I just start working, like I said, at 21. Okay, my boss asked me, look, you want to be a team leader? I said, me? I'm the laziest person in the company. I mean, I'm really effective in what I do, but everybody knew I was really lazy. Maybe that's why he wanted me. So I said at 21, I said, you know what, fine, I'll
And
do
now
it.
looking back, can you tell what exactly why he chosen you?
Because I was super effective.
Okay, so you were
So
lazy?
no, lazy people generally are like really effective people, so they can be lazy afterwards. I like to be lazy, so if I have a lot of work, I like to do it as fast as possible, as effective as possible. So, you know, I have more time to be lazy and more time to relax. I think he saw that. I didn't know if I was a leader or not. I had no idea. I said, okay, fine, I'll do it. Plus, and the one thing what he did saw is like, okay, all the processes, I know them very well. So it came very easy to me, like processes, structuring, those type of things, you know, being very effective. Those things came very easy to me. And maybe he really liked me, you know. I was a likable person like that. So he said at 21, okay, I said, I'll do it. And I said, you know what, it's time to be serious in life, you know. That's more or less how I got out of the depression. But, you know, the things which it gave to me took me many more years to actually fix them.
So how long you stayed there on this kind of work, on this position?
I stayed in this company, I stayed for 7 years. Oh, but you mean the mindset?
Yes, is that like managing positions in this kind of work? So you went into another period in your life.
So I think like this was a very dark period. Like really, no, even though like the depression was very dark, you know. And the thing is, like, I couldn't finance, like, the internet wasn't as it is right now, you know. Like now you can find everything on the internet. You got any questions, or you can even ask ChatGPT. Back then it wasn't the case. So I was really struggling, and even though I got out of it, you know, but to really get the self-esteem, it took me many more years. took me many more years because I always felt like I'm behind, you know. Because even when you're younger, you have the tendency to compare.
Okay.
You compare yourself, your own story, to someone else, and you know you believe everything is still real. So you compare like Instagram or Facebook. You say, oh, these people are so far. They already have a family and they have this and this, and you know you compare too much when you're young, and it doesn't matter at all. The only person you need to compare it to is yourself, nobody else.
Okay, so this is the most important experience which you took from that.
No, I've got way more. I've got way more experiences.
Okay, коротко тебя перевести?
Ну, в тот момент
Oh, you need to translate.
No, я мучитель, да.
Good luck translating all of that.
Yes, I didn't want to stop you because
Я
you
понимала
was
вообще.
in process of turning off life and
Я улавливала
it was
темы.
like natural.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah, good luck.
Я улавливала темы, и мы уже общались на эти темы, то есть примерно я понимала, да, что чего. Но может быть что-то очень интересное и важное ты можешь выделить, сказать.
Про разные периоды в жизни, что был период, когда он больше занимался, был период встречи с собой какой-то, когда не было понимания, когда он встретился какой-то своей темной частью себя, которая ему сказала, что ты не так, все делаешь не то. И это ввело его в определенное состояние депрессия, так скажем, непонимание себя, и помогла ему, выделила музыка из этого, потому что через музыку, он полностью перенес свое внимание туда. Был также диджеем, работал с музыкой, и это ему помогло просто перенести фокус внимания, вывести себя из этого. Также у него была девушка 21 год, которая ему помогла больше поднять свою самооценку, то есть как бы поверить в себя. Это понимает человек, который ему, да. Ну, хотя он сейчас на данный момент думает, что самоценность она внутри находится, но тем не менее человек ему помог себя поверить. Также потом ему предложили работу 21 год, когда на управленческой должности. Он считает, что предложили, потому что я спрашиваю, почему? Он говорит, ну я был очень ленивым. Но почему же тогда предложили? Потому что был вместе с этим очень эффективным, так думаю. Вот, и именно эта должность он многие годы, это все лет работал, я так понимаю, дальше тоже в этом направлении, может, уже в других компаниях. И многие вопросы, но вместе с тем считается, что все равно это был темный период в его жизни. I'm talking about you. After things, of course. You have thought? And,
you sure you're telling everything?
More or less the same. Like, no, I'm a psychologist, so I'm joking. I'm telling the way you talk. Эта компания, ну, и в этом периоде он долгое время был, это тоже ему много всего помогло узнать. Одно из важного, то, что, то есть, как бы он понял для себя, что он старался, он был постоянно в гонке доказательства себе и другим, что типа он достоин, что он лучше, потому что молодые люди, они склонны к этому доказывать миру, что они
можно я уже, у меня просто созрел прям вопрос, что ты сказала, то, что я понимаю, лично я вот недавно пришла к этому пониманию, может быть, ты что-то от себя добавишь тоже, да, вот на эту тему, что единственная большая проблема всех людей и все, что нас мотивирует, это вот эта самоценность. То есть у нас нет нашей ценности, мы ищем отношения, чтобы кто-то доказал нашу ценность. Мы ищем какого-то успеха, чтобы вот мы ценные. Что я поняла, что мы должны быть ценными вот абсолютно без разницы, в чем мы одеты, где мы находимся. Мы должны чувствовать эту ценность, что вот мы уже создание Божие, да, то есть вот уже мы обладаем этой ценностью. Нам не нужен никто, чтобы доказывал эту ценность.
Ну вот мы как раз об этом чуть много говорили, да?
Много говорили, да?
Немного. Как раз мы подошли к этой теме. То есть, как раз
вот продолжайте. Сейчас тема очень интересная.
Как раз сейчас я переведу, да? She's telling about this kind of when you feel that you have enough, that you have enough of value, that you feel that this kind of value is that it comes from inside, that you know that it's not coming from outside. That from inside you know that it's enough, everything you have, it's enough, you are enough. And
Oh, that's right.
and I'm telling you that we actually came to this point because you're telling about that from the beginning when we were young we were trying to find that outside, and some people actually they help us in some way to understand that, like you told your girlfriend, she helped you to feel that, maybe to touch that, to see that. And we need more to prove, and at some point we're maybe tired of that. And we start looking like maybe it's about something else, and maybe what helped you to understand that you don't need to look at to try to find it outside.
Phew. I realized this quite late
Mm-hmm.
in life. I think. I think I realized it. I think a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was actually the last year when I was in the Netherlands. I said, okay, you know what? I think, we get so conditioned by the media, the school system, your parents, your environment. You need to do this. You need to do this. You need to be like this. You have to be like this. I never care for that. We are who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Yet I stayed long enough in the Netherlands to make sure, okay, I did what society expected from me. And now it's time for me. I don't need to prove anybody anything anymore. I'm whole on the inside. I did everything what I wanted to do, like accomplished all my goals.
Mm-hmm.
I did everything what I wanted to do in the Netherlands. And now I don't need to prove anything to anybody. But I think it was also more or less like I proved a point to myself. I think for 8 years I said, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I prove everything. But it was more from me. But it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
So
Like it doesn't actually really
your way
matter.
was more to fulfill what you wanted first, to know that you fulfilled that you're
Yeah.
fine with it, and then
I said, okay,
tell,
this is what I want to
okay,
do.
I did what I wanted to do.
This is what I wanted to do. Okay, for myself,
Uh-huh.
like those goals, I've achieved them.
Okay.
And that gave me a lot of peace inside. I said, you know what? Okay, I achieved it for myself. Maybe that's what society expected from me. I've got my own house, I've got my own car, I've got a good job. All those things which don't really matter. Of course, it's nice to have a house, it's nice to have a rooftop, and that gives you stability. But at the end of the day, like it doesn't matter what society expects from you. Like it really doesn't matter at all. You know how many people are there, they want to be painters or artists or they want to do something like this. But no, you need to have a job. You need to be able to survive in society. You need to have money. So people take jobs and professions they don't even like in order to, just survive in a society, And so everybody's really conditioned about, okay, this is what we expect. This is what you need to do. Oh, you're poor. So, if you are poor in a society, you're looked as a less human being. You know what I mean? Which is bullshit. Like just because you're a manager doesn't mean you're a better person or a more valuable human than somebody who paints or somebody who cleans or somebody as a plumber. It doesn't matter. But yet, and you got this hierarchical layer in society where, like, okay, if you're on the top, you're better than everybody else. So a lot of people, rather than doing what they really want to do, okay, they want to have a good life, but maybe in the profession I want to do, I will not be able to have a good life. So you choose something else. Initially, why I chose leadership, like first I rolled into it. And then at one point, I'm like, man, I'm done with the responsibility of the people. But later, I was like, yeah, but it's going to give me the most money, So I can do a job as a customer service administrator. It's not going to give me the same salary as a team leader or as a supervisor function. So initially, for me, it was also about the money. And then later, I realized, no, this is actually what I'm supposed to do. But like I said, like you choose a job because it gives you more money than maybe something what you really want to do. And I think there's a lot of people in society which do that, but it doesn't matter. Like who gives a f what society even thinks of you? Why you should impress people you don't even like or you don't even know?
For me, you are actually now a present. Why? Because I was thinking, because normally men and women are looking at a little bit a different point. And actually, what I see in life that mostly women come to that a little bit earlier. Maybe because of they have different kind of things to do. That's why maybe their nature is different, and they see that with children, with all the stuff, they see that maybe these things are not the most important, but the things which make me happy and my child happy. But for me, it was a question when men can see that they stop this kind of running. And I was thinking that maybe only when, and I was asking everyone about that, and I was normally they tell me when they are older, when they are like after 15 years, 60, when you don't have too much power to run, and you start realizing that maybe something was wrong in my life. Maybe I was giving my attention to something which was not making me happy. But now, from when I see you and see you like here, and for me, it's like an answer. Okay, it's possible. And the super nice way is that you could first you can prove yourself, you can show yourself that I could do that and that and that and that, but maybe it was enough.
No, I think for me it was more okay. I think there came a time where I was like, okay, how far can you go?
Mm-hmm.
I think as a man though, you need to check, okay, your potential,
Yes.
and you need to fulfill your potential. Okay, how far can I go? What's my maximum potential? You know. And I think I had that realization like 30, 32, something like this, maybe quite late. But okay, let me see how far can I go. What can I really do? Where's my ceiling?
Okay.
And I needed to do it for me, not for anybody else, but for me. I wanted to see for me, okay, where can I go? How far can I really go? You know, and then I start tapping into it. Okay, and then for the years and years, I was okay, let's just focus on work, just career, just focus on work, nothing else. But I always felt like, man, like nobody actually really needs to prove themselves, you know, as human beings. You know, it doesn't really matter. But for me,
For you, it was your
I found
inner
it
game, your inner kind of.
exactly. I felt like, okay, I need to prove for myself how far can I go. And then I said, you know what? Okay. And then it came a point where like, okay, exactly what I wanted to prove for myself, I did it. And now I felt like, okay, I proved what I wanted to prove for myself. Now it's time for something else. Now it's time for my more creative parts of me, you know? Because a man, or maybe as a person in general, you have like everybody has many different parts and many different sides, you know. And like if you work in let's say for example management or as a leader, you know, it's a lot of push energy, you know, but also you know it consumes a lot of energy of you. And you know, I use it for years because I really enjoy working with people. I love working with people, and I generally as a leader try to make everything as good for the people and for the companies I work for. But it costs me a lot of energy and a lot of my creative energy. I think a lot of creative energy which people have, it gets limited by the responsibility you have. So if you have a lot of responsibilities in life, or you're not doing really well in life, or you have a lot of stress, your creativity is actually not going to come out. And I felt at one point, especially like I think during my Kundalini awakening, I was like, wow, my creativity is out of this world. But I always use my creativity for problem solving, which is good. It's a valuable skill. But there was a point where I was like, yeah, okay, well, I want to use my creativity for other things. You know, I have different passions and I have different things I want to do in life, you know, and I want to use my creativity for other things rather than, you know, problem solving all the time, you know.
And it's just like
But like,
перейду. И, наверное, буду тоже слышать. Так.
you remember? I think first about self-realization.
Да, по поводу, как он вышел к тому, что, что самоценность. Он говорит, что он это сделал как? Через то, что он в жизни проходил, закрывал какие-то потребности, закрывал вопрос. То есть у него было вот это сделать. Там машина, там дом, да, работа, там. Да, то есть как бы он все это прошелся, закрыл, получается, все эти вопросы для себя. И потом он же в какой-то момент, когда он понял, что он смог, это у него была какая-то внутренняя его игра. Через эту внутреннюю игру он видел, что он может больше, он себе ставил планки. Для мужчин это нормальная типа история, доказывать себе, что ты можешь дальше больше идти.
Так должно быть.
Да, но в какой-то момент он понял, что, то есть, как бы очень много туда энергии уходит, особенно энергия, которая творческая, вместо того, чтобы уходить в творчество, она уходит, и потом на какой-то момент это его приостановило. И тоже также опыт, еще раз повторила про опыт с кундалини, когда что это также показало, что творческая энергия, она есть, она по-другому находится, чем он думал ранее. И в этот момент, то есть, как бы переосознала, поняла, что нет уже смысла что-то доказывать миру и что-то доказывать для себя.
Немножко поменял ход игры.
I think for a man, like self-actualization is very important.
Yes.
It's very
She
important.
felt the same, and I think the same.
No, it is important.
Yes,
I think.
it's part of which we need just to pass to prove it, to have this experience.
Exactly, and I think me personally, I think there might be a lot of fear in men as well. Okay, you have capacity to do certain things, and you need to go for it. And it also gives you a certain kind of pressure also and that might be societal pressure as well. Like, okay, society tells you as a man you need to be this, you need to be successful and whatever, all those type of things. So I think for a lot of men, they perhaps they choose rather success over fulfillment. So at least they can show, okay, you know what, I earn a lot of money and I have everything what society expects from me. This is what I can show to the outside world, rather than choosing actual fulfillment, what fills their heart and fills their purpose and their passion. And I think a lot of men, especially as you said, like 50, 60, look back and like, oh, I wish I just went for the thing which actually really fulfills me. But maybe they give in too much to societal pressures.
Of course.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe they built their lives, they have their families, and as soon as you have a family, it makes the responsibility even bigger.
And it's not so easy to come out from that pressure because sometimes you feel like you are out of the game. And it's for men especially, it's also not easy to feel that.
No. I mean, if you're always used to like pressure, pressure shapes diamonds, right? So you're used to pressure, you're used to stress, in a good way, I should say, and I think can also be too much, and that's when people they might end up in a burnout. But although I think also the same, like you choose external validation over actual fulfillment, this also might be a reason for burnout.
But the super answer that yes, that we see that there is it's possible also for men to pass that way.
Like I said, I was maybe I'm not really representative for, or maybe I am. I don't know.
No, now there are many men which are talking about that, and they're interested in that, and they are looking for that experience, and they are looking for that experience in a men's circle, to feel, to see it, because it is possible. So I think it's very precious. Even this kind of video we do now.
I hope so.
Yeah.
No, but for me, the thing is, like, I always felt very balanced, Like, I've never really was like a man, you know what I mean? Like, oh, let me go out with the boys, even though I had friend groups, but I never was like macho man, I always felt like it's overcompensating, actually. It's like very overcompensating. And like I said, especially during my 20s, I felt different, It's always, I feel my feminine side too. Like I said, I'm highly sensitive. But it took me many years to actually stop suppressing it and say, I am highly sensitive, but I can use this gift to actually really help people. It gives me, a great insight into, I should say, interpersonal relationships. So, like I said, maybe I'm a little bit different in that regard, but.
But if you have that, you can pass it.
I honestly, I think every man has it, Every man, every woman, they both have.
I mean, you can pass away, and you can help people to find that way.
I think, like, we both have like masculine, feminine energies, and obviously with the female, like the feminine, it's dominantly feminine energy. With men, it's dominantly masculine energy, right? But it needs to be, and from both sides, it needs to be balanced.
Of course.
It's like this, And I think a lot of men, even like in societal pressures, if you're sensitive, it's seen as a bad thing as a man.
In Spain, not.
No, not in Spain, and in many countries, it's not the case.
Yes,
it's not the case.
But it's interesting that here not.
No, I mean, okay, you can be feminine, but you can also be. I should have said it in the right way.
Okay, it's another thing, which is super interesting.
Like, okay, you can be, let's say, like soft. I think I'm soft, maybe not also perceived in that way, but I think you're waiting for that. Sorry, go ahead.
I was thinking if you will jump into that new thing like about soft man and not soft man. It's like one. It's something super interesting to talk about, but it's one another.
Я потом переведу, послушаю.
Yes. Actually, I'm a little bit tired, so I would like to finish it as possible.
Ну, переведи чуть-чуть.
Хорошо. Я сказала, он говорил, что
Мужчина,
Что,
баланс, что
что-
помогает.
он говорил, что у мужчины есть также женская часть, потому что он достаточно чувствительный, он достаточно во нем много этого. И он
Вот
начинает-
можно я сразу
конечно,
на эту тему
Да.
скажу, потому что я поняла, что мужчины очень часто закрывают эту часть,
Мгм.
и это им мешает, это и ломает их потом. То есть потом они уходят в зависимость или какие-то другие вещи, которые уводят их от своего счастливого пути. То есть вот это когда мужчина не закрывает эту часть, это очень плохо. Я это наблюдаю очень много здесь, не только здесь, вообще везде. То есть это прекрасно, когда чувствительность она раскрыта у мужчины, он не боится плакать, смеяться
Да,
и чувствовать.
мы как раз говорили, что в Испании, в принципе, это достаточно разрешено.
Да, да.
То есть, как бы, что в испанской. Я говорю, что если мы сейчас перейдем на эту тему испанскую, то это очень большая тема. Вот. She tells that it's very important for a man also to open his part, because if it's not opened, it's not giving him a lot of possibilities. And I told her that we were talking about that also, that in Spain it's a little bit different. Here men have this like feminine side, and normally the question is another question like, where is my masculinity? They are looking more for that now. They're at that stage. So it's also, it depends a lot from the place where they are born.
Хорошо. Мы будем завершать немножко.
Yes, we will try to
Yes.
summarize.
Окей. Ну, последнее слово я бы хотела, чтобы вот какие-то пожелания для мужской части, потому что все-таки сегодня у нас мужчина, который уже вот какой-то баланс, понимание в жизни у него уже имеется, да, вот какое рекомендация, совет мужчинам, чтобы вот также найти вот этот баланс, что убрать 100% из жизни необходимо, на что обратить внимание, и что, наоборот, вот привлечь какие-то.
Maybe you have, she wants to finish, maybe you have some advice for men, how to find that balance, on what to focus on, maybe on what not in their lives.
И что, наоборот,
And
нужно.
what to add to their lives.
First of all, I think you need to do what you love and what you have passion for, you know, because if you do something you don't like, it's only going to give you a lot of stress and a lot of resistance. Second of all, embrace everything. Embrace all of your emotions. You know, you want to cry, then just fucking cry. You know, if you feel sad, then feel sad, man. If you want to speak up, if you there's something, there's nothing wrong with you. You know, like just be you, be the complete version of you, and embrace your emotions, because as soon as you embrace your emotions, you're gonna feel a whole lot better. If you're gonna suppress everything, you're gonna it's not gonna be well, because you're gonna carry that with the rest of your life.
Super. It sounds super important.
Окей. Спасибо всем за внимание.
Тебе спасибо.
Да, thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you for your time.
I think it's super important.
Да, очень интересно.
There were some parts which are important for people to hear.
Мария, пожелай ты что-нибудь нашим прекрасным зрителям в наше время непростое, да?
Мне на самом деле будет то же самое пожелание.
Самое, да.
Это то, что для меня сейчас самое важное, это English. Okay. For me, it's the same. Now, for me, at that moment in life, the most important is to be fully in truth with yourself and in what you do, in like 100% to what I feel. What I tell. I tell what I feel. I am there when I want to be. I'm doing what I feel I need to be, and I'm not hiding anything. I'm just fully in this moment. I think this is the most quick way, actually, for me.
No, I agree. It's you need to embrace those emotions. If you don't, then these emotions are gonna be stuck. You need to flow like water. Yeah. Flow like water.
Окей. А можешь перевести от меня, что вот надо быть смелым, чтобы быть настоящим.
It's,
Не бояться.
she,
Быть собой.
she says it's to be brave, also to be yourself. It's to be brave. She thinks.
Вот. Всем, пожалуйста.
That's true. True.
That's
True.